Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia just turned a hotel lobby into a war zone with a face-to-face confrontation. Tension exploded instantly. Security had to rush in immediately before things got completely out of control.
Clark Kent with the gray hair. Ryan is the new Flash. Can I be Flash? You know what's funny, guys? I actually did see, I seen Tank in the club. I did see him in the club.
Gervonta Davis walked up to Ryan Garcia in a hotel lobby, and security had to step in before it went any further. Two fighters, one hallway, no ring between them, and the entire boxing world trying to figure out what triggered it and what comes next. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what has been building between these two men, why this moment was coming, and what it means for the most emotionally charged rematch in boxing right now.
Was right hand or something?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's boxing. Right. You know what I mean? He probably caught me with a good shot. It was no shots that caught me today, and I felt like I was in trouble. You know what I mean? I just stayed calm. I felt like he was more anxious.
If you clicked this video, you already understand that Davis and Garcia are not just two fighters who once shared a ring. They are the two sides of a story that boxing has been telling in slow motion for 3 years. Most people think this is just another beef flaring up. Two young stars, too much money, too much ego, too much time on social media. This stuff happens. It blows over. But here's what this channel has been tracking, and what almost nobody else has connected yet. In the 12 months since their first fight, these two men have gone in completely opposite directions. And when two careers moving at full speed in opposite directions finally cross paths in a hotel lobby, you don't need a referee. You need security. We're breaking this down in 3 parts. First, exactly what Garcia has been saying publicly about Davis and why it went further than typical trash talk. Second, where Davis actually stands right now, legally, professionally, and in terms of his place in the sport. And third, why this confrontation is not just a moment, it is the beginning of the biggest rematch conversation boxing has had in years. To understand why a hotel lobby conversation required security to step in, you have to understand what has happened to both men since April 2023. That was when they fought. T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Davis stopped Garcia in the 7th round with a body shot, a fight Garcia entered at a brutal 136-pound catchweight with a 10-pound rehydration clause. Davis won, Garcia went down. The boxing world had its verdict. For the next 3 years, every time Garcia mentioned Davis, it was easy to dismiss. You lost. Get back in line. Then, February 21, 2026 happened. Garcia walked into T-Mobile Arena, the same building, dropped Mario Barrios in the first round, and won 12 dominant rounds to claim the WBC welterweight title. Scorecards 119-108, 120-107, 118-109. Garcia was a world champion for the first time, and the first thing he did with that belt was pointed at Tank Davis. Simultaneously, Davis was navigating the most difficult period of his professional career. He had not fought since a majority draw with Lamont Roach in March 2025, a fight where Davis took a knee in round 9, claiming grease from his braids had dripped into his eye. The WBA downgraded his status to champion in recess in January 2026, and the legal situation in Miami was getting worse by the week. When these two men ended up in the same hotel at the same time, the collision was not a surprise. It was inevitable. And this is where the story gets complicated. Now, most people covering this story focused on the incident itself. But here's what everyone missed: the weeks of public attack that preceded it. Since winning the WBC belt, Garcia has been running a sustained, specific campaign against Davis's reputation. Not generic trash talk, a point-by-point dismantling of Davis's resume delivered directly to media and fans. On Boxing 247, Garcia publicly questioned who Davis had actually beaten. He pointed to the contrast in their paths since April 2023. Garcia had fought Devin Haney, the WBC champion at 140, one of boxing's top pound-for-pound fighters, and dropped him 3 times. He took on Rolando Romero, the WBA champion. He fought for and won the WBC welterweight title against Barrios. He took the dangerous path, fight after fight. Davis, in that same span, beat Hector Garcia, fought to a draw with Lamont Roach, and then disappeared from the ring entirely due to legal troubles. Garcia's argument? Since their fight, the contrast in their strength of schedule is pretty glaring. Garcia taking dangerous opponents, while Davis stayed in safer waters. He went further at press conferences, calling Davis out with a crowd going absolutely insane, questioning whether Davis had the heart for the rematch on fair terms. No brutal catchweight, no rehydration clause. Fair ground. Garcia's terms. When Garcia stands in front of a crowd calling out Davis, question mark after question mark about his resume and his toughness, and Davis is sitting at home with court dates and a frozen career, that is not something a competitor absorbs quietly. That is something that builds day by day, post by post, press conference by press conference. But that's not even the most important part of this story. And this is where the real story, the one that explains exactly why this hotel lobby confrontation happened the way it did, finally comes into full view. Gervonta Davis is not just in a career slump. He is navigating a situation that would stop most fighters in their tracks entirely. The timeline is brutal. October 27, 2025, an alleged incident at Tootsie's Cabaret in Miami involving his ex-girlfriend, Courtney Roselle. Surveillance footage captured on 8 clips that were later released publicly by TMZ. January 14, 2026, arrest warrant issued by Miami Gardens police. January 28, 2026, Davis arrested after a 2-week search, released on a $16,000 bond. March 27, 2026, the felony false imprisonment charge dropped, but the felony kidnapping charge remained active. March 23, 2026, Davis filed a $20 million countersuit claiming Roselle provoked the confrontation and attempted to extort him. April 1, 2026, a Miami judge cleared Roselle's $5 million civil lawsuit to proceed. That is Davis's life right now. Not a gym, not a training camp. Court dates, lawyers, countersuit filings, and a WBC title that has been downgraded to champion in recess because he has not fought since March 2025. And throughout all of it, Ryan Garcia, the new WBC world champion, has been on a microphone telling anyone who will listen that Davis never fought a real man, that his resume is thin, that the rematch needs to happen on fair terms, and that Garcia already knows what he can knock Davis out with. The surveillance footage from the strip club was released publicly on March 31, 2026. Garcia's reaction was immediate. He publicly called Davis an angry little F-fucker and rejected Davis's legal team's statement about the footage. He weighed in on social media. He condemned the behavior on behalf of the sport. Think about what that means from Davis's perspective. A man who once knocked you out on a bad weight cut in a fight you never felt right for is now the world champion, calling out your entire career, questioning your character, commenting on your legal situation publicly, and doing it all with a crowd cheering his every word. And then you walk into the same hotel lobby. But here's what nobody is connecting right now, and once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Here is the twist that reframes this entire confrontation. When Davis stopped Garcia in April 2023, Davis was the A-side, the established champion, the knockout artist who had never lost. Garcia was the challenger who came up short. Davis set the terms. Davis collected the bigger check. Davis walked away as the face of American boxing at lightweight. Fast forward to April 2026. Garcia is the WBC welterweight world champion. Davis is champion in recess with an active felony kidnapping charge and a career frozen in place. Garcia is the one being called out for big fights: Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney. Davis is the one negotiating with Isaac Cruz for a summer return on Prime Video because that is what is available to him right now. The power has reversed completely. That is why the hotel lobby confrontation hit differently than any previous Davis-Garcia moment. It is not two men of equal standing having a beef. It is the fighter who once held every card standing across from the fighter who now holds the ones that matter most, and having that conversation without a ring, without a referee, and without any of the structure that boxing puts around these two men to keep things from going too far. Security being called is not the story. Security being called is the signal that both men know exactly what this is. They know what the rematch means. They know what is at stake for Garcia's legacy, for Davis's redemption, for the sport. And they know that the only place this actually gets resolved is in a boxing ring. Davis was once the man Garcia was chasing. Now Garcia is the man Davis needs. That shift from hunter to hunted is the most dangerous transition in boxing, and the hotel lobby is where Davis decided he was done accepting it quietly. Here's where we land. Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia ending up face-to-face in a hotel lobby with security stepping between them is the most on-brand possible preview for the most emotionally loaded rematch in boxing right now. Garcia is the WBC world champion. He has been calling Davis out publicly, questioning his resume, commenting on his legal situation. Davis is fighting on two fronts: in the ring, where he needs a comeback to reclaim his standing, and in court, where a felony kidnapping charge is still active. The first fight was brutal for Garcia. Wrong weight, wrong terms, wrong night. He always said he wanted to run it back on fair ground. Now he has the belt, he has the platform, he has the leverage. Here is the question boxing has to sit with. Was the hotel lobby confrontation the moment Davis finally decided he wants the rematch badly enough to do whatever it takes to get it made? Or is Garcia's call-out campaign pushing a man who can't afford another mistake in the wrong direction? Drop your take below. If you want the full story on everything happening in boxing before it hits mainstream media, hit subscribe.